All right, ladies and gentlemen, whoever may be watching, we are back with another episode of the Patriots Only Please podcast. I am Jeff C.
Michael Soley.
Yep, and we are here to talk about all things. Well, actually, right now we're here to talk about the state of our union and how it relates to the 2024 election and their developments happening by the day. So, yeah, let's have at it. What's been developing this week?
Well, before we get started, we want to say thank you to TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
TikTok, thank you so much.
Thank you, TikTok.
Thank you so much for being part of our podcast careers, our podcast journey. We want to thank our technical assistant producer, Azura. One name like Cher, but it's Azura. Good friends with Cher, by the way. They're very close. She's doing a fantastic job making everything look and sound great. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, so we're based. And if you guys are ever here, look us up and we'll talk about politics.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about Kamala, her choice for VP, what's been happening in the stock market. It's very, very important. It's kind of a reflection of what's going on in our country and a lot more. And we want to talk to TikTok. We want to talk to the rest of our viewers worldwide. And what should we get started with, buddy?
Well, I think that's actually a really good place to start because the market has been kind of swinging around wildly the last couple of days.
Yes.
You are far more astute when it comes to watching the market. So
I've lost a lot of money in the market. So yeah,
in the last couple of days. And it's funny, ironically, the day before the market completely tanked, you called and said, you got to get in.
I did.
And I did. But that's okay. That's okay. Everything's on sale right now. So
yes, it is.
I would love, for those that might not, understand how politics correlates with the market, perhaps you can maybe enlighten some people.
I can. And I'll make it very, very simple, very, very basic. The stock market is made up of big, huge companies that want you to buy their stock and make money. And if you do that, you get paid dividends. It's a great way to make money. It's a great way to build wealth over time. But the stock market, big business in this country, around the world, does not like uncertainty. Uncertainty scares the market. What do I mean when I say uncertainty? What I say uncertainty is government fiscal policy. What's going to happen here? Kamala's been saying things like if she gets elected president, she's going to double corporate tax rates. Or she's considering, I'm not saying first of all, this is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We're not offering any advice. We're just sharing our thoughts and our opinions. But the stock market, big business around the world does not like uncertainty. So what's happening in the Democrat Party, the fact that Joe Biden's the sitting president, but he's already said he's not going to run again, that spooks the markets. The fact that Kamala and her new running mate, Tim Walz, are very, very far to the left, and typically tax and spend. The market's not big fans of that either. So the stock market had a big pullback recently because corporate earnings were off. The unemployment rate was up in this country. So when corporate earnings are off, the unemployment rate is bad or moving in the wrong direction. And we have a major political party, the Democrats, who are kind of in real time shuffling themselves. The markets go, whoa, what's happening right now? Because the Fed rate, the rate at which banks borrow money from the Treasury, is already at a 20-year high. It's 5.25%. Hasn't been that high in 20 years. That number has to come down. Jerome Powell, the
Fed chairman,
has to cut rates quickly. That has to happen. It hasn't happened yet. So the market's looking at all these things and going, Warren Buffett very wisely pulled all his money, almost 60% of his position in Apple out. Warren Buffett's sitting on $260 billion in cash. He's sitting out this month to see what to do with $260 billion in cash. Warren Buffett knows a lot more than I do. So the fact that he pulled out of the market is a huge bellwether of what's coming, perhaps. Or this could all mean nothing, right? But what we know has happened is in the last 4 or 5 trading days, the stock market lost over $3 trillion in value. That's a huge shock to the system. The Nikkei, the stock market in Japan, lost 4,000 points in one day. It's never happened in their existence since they had a stock market. Again, worldwide, the whole world's looking at our country, watching this election cycle and going, wow, things look crazy in the U.S. That's not good for the world. If the left wins, that's not good for tax rates, possibly. That's not good for maybe the war is going on. So it screams uncertainty, which spooks the markets. They pull back. That's what we saw happen. It's correcting itself slowly now, and it's going up and down, but it's moving in the right direction. It's moving back up. So it's correcting itself over time. I believe this time next week we'll be back to where we should be. But is it foreshadowing?
Mhm.
I hope that's a good answer. But essentially, the stock market does not like uncertainty, and there's nothing but uncertainty coming out of the Democratic Party right now.
Yeah.
For example, if you go to Kamala's website, Kamala Harris's website, have you been to it yet?
I have not.
Okay, I checked it out before the episode today. It hasn't changed since yesterday. It's a landing page for donations.
Mhm.
No policy points, no plans for the future, no speeches, no paragraphs of information. Just donate money here to Kamala Harris's campaign and to other Democrats around the country. And then a bunch of disclaimers. That's it. It's a landing page.
Mhm.
There's no website. If you go to Donald Trump's page, it's Article 47. It's nothing but policy points and procedures and plans, action plans for when we hope he wins in November of 2024. So again, the market looks at all this stuff and goes, wow, the U.S. is in a weird place. Let's pull back. Let's wait until these numbers go back up or till Jerome Powell starts cutting interest rates, which we hope happens soon, because Jerome Powell just had a meeting a week ago where they did not lower the rates. He left the rates where they were. And I think the market would like to see Jerome Powell have an emergency meeting and lower the rates to give the markets some reassurance that things in the U.S. are going to be okay. Because if you buy U.S. Treasuries, typically U.S. Treasuries are the safest investment that you can make, right? The U.S. government's not going to default on its obligations. It never has. It never will. But $35 trillion in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were to win, is that a very business-friendly administration? Not the way Trump would be. So the market's going, uncertainty, not good.
So
that's what happened.
So this is kind of a good opportunity to maybe explain, because a lot of people say, well, the politicians and the presidents don't control the markets, they don't control gas prices, they don't control inflation. But and my argument has always been, especially when it comes particularly to, say, gas prices and energy costs, is okay, maybe not directly, but they influence the speculators who are, who are essentially setting the prices and trying to forecast in the future how energy costs or what they will be.
Right.
So maybe for somebody who's a little more, astute in the market,
Mm-hmm.
how does this affect, like, let's say, gas prices, energy prices, obviously inflation? When, like, what's the counter argument to people that say, that doesn't, the politicians don't control the market? Because I think a lot of people don't, let's be honest, a lot of people on the left are only voting for Kamala based on identity politics, race and gender and all of that. And
our opinion only, just our opinion, for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Sure. I mean, say what we will about that, but I don't know if people are really looking at the real core issues. So, and as you say, for those that pay taxes, everybody pays bills. Right. So how, if we can talk to those people directly and say, okay, great, you like the fact that Kamala's a woman, you like the fact that she's a woman of color, yeah, I get that. Identity politics is going to be what it's going to be. But how does this affect the economy? How does this directly affect
the economy this way? The Fed, which is part of the Biden administration, the federal government, the Fed is the Fed controls money supply and interest rates. If you want to fact check this, there's a 20th century economist I recommend everyone listen to. His name is Milton Friedman. Mm-hmm. Milton Friedman is kind of the godfather of fiscal policy for countries. And he actually was hired to advise countries when he was alive in the 20th century about fiscal policy, how to run economies of scale in countries around the world. And to quote Milton Friedman, only governments can cause inflation because they control the interest rates and the money supply. How much money is in the market and the interest rates at which that money works through the market. That's all government control. Mm-hmm. So that's what causes inflation. Too much government.
And so how would that relate to, say, fuel prices? And was I correct?
No, it's a great question. No, here. So the Middle East is not in an awesome place right now. We can argue about why that is, but the Middle East is having. Thanks. It's a great hat. It is a great hat. Thank you so much. The Middle East has since October 7th of last year, when Hamas invaded Israel and did what it did. I'm not going to say it on TikTok, but we all know what happened last year on October 7th, 2023. I hope that happened in the Middle East. OPEC is based in the Middle East, right?
Yes.
So when Trump was president,
for those that don't understand, what is OPEC? What do they do?
Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries is what the acronym OPEC means.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia, a lot of the biggest oil producers in the world have band together for the last 70 years to help control the distribution and supply of oil to maximize profits and to keep the gas prices stable when they can, if they can. When Trump left office, oil was trading at about $40 a barrel. Since Biden's been the president, it's close to $100 a barrel. That's why gas is so expensive. Why is it $100 a barrel? Because of the uncertainty in the Middle East, because of Iran, because Biden lifted all the sanctions off Iran. Iran's reactivated Hezbollah and Hamas. That's it. OPEC's looking at the world and saying, let's raise the prices. It's getting more dangerous to produce. So that's one of the ways that gas prices go up.
Yeah.
Now that's on an international level. That's OPEC. That's the people supplying the oil itself. Then once it gets to the United States, the federal government's tacked on, and there's state taxes on gas and federal taxes on gas. So that, again, too much. It's too much government. It's too much taxation. Trump got rid of a lot of the red tape and a lot of the taxes to make the United States a much more business-friendly country, top down, okay, and bottom up. Biden came in 2020 and reversed that. He made it. The taxes have gone way up in every area of our life,
sure,
including taxes on gas, petrol, heating oil, all that stuff. And OPEC is going, let's charge more because things are really funky. And plus, we're getting over COVID, where no one made any money for a long time. So those things have combined together to make gas prices more expensive. Again, Bidenflation affects everybody because it affects things that everyone needs: food, gas, housing, rent. So I think I answered the gas question.
Yeah.
But to spread it out more evenly around the entire economy, everything's more expensive because there's way more taxes and regulation. The cost of doing business has gone up for everyone.
Yeah, and that's the reason why here, like the old James Carville line, "It's the economy, stupid."
Yeah.
And I understand people are kind of blindly supporting based on identity politics and all that, but at the end of the day, as you tell me, sometimes you got to talk me off the ledge about this stuff, like because I sit there and I words like, don't people realize that this is it has nothing to do with the person or the personality, whether you like Kamala, whether you like Trump, whether you like Biden. It has nothing to do with that. It's about the policies that affect our everyday life, our pocketbooks, our wallets. So this is the reason why I wanted you to kind of go deep on that, because so many people, especially on the left, say, well, the president doesn't have an effect on that, and the president of the United States has a huge effect on the world economy because the United States is a huge player in the world economy, right? We're one of the most, if not the most powerful country in the world, with one of the biggest economies in the world. So if we're not doing well, it affects the entire planet. And we have allies in Europe, we have allies in Southeast Asia, we have allies all over the world who are affected by that as well. So if the United States has a cold, the rest of the world gets a little bit sick. If the United States has a pneumonia, the rest of the world gets really sick. How's that for an analogy? Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate that because, again, so many people are, they're so focused on, the personalities, and they don't look at the actual policies. And so that's why I always tell people, look, if you have to hold your nose to vote for the other side because it's in your best interest,
right?
That's what you got to do. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it, before, because you thought maybe whoever you were voting for would benefit you in some way economically. Right. And this is why I really caution people who get so caught up in the optics of the political theater part of it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of insults that get hurled back and forth on both sides. But at the end of the day, it's the policies that affect your day-to-day existence, right? And how comfortably you can exist wherever. Well, in this case, in the United States, right? So I thank you for. Well, here's the thing: you're not, a politician is not your Valentine. You're making a chess move. Voting, your vote is your voice, and when you vote, you're voting for a better future. You're making a chess move. To me, it's emotionless. I don't think of politics. I don't know them personally. They don't know me personally. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a voter like everybody else. So I want to vote for the candidate that's going to do the best thing for our country and for our children's futures. I feel like that's the Republican Party. I feel like that's Trump-Vance 2024. If you feel differently, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to vote the way they want to vote.
We're here to lay out the facts the way that we see them and help anyone make a decision that is a very important one to make.
Yeah.
But we're not here to judge anyone that's on the left. We're not here to judge anyone that disagrees with us. We're just sharing our knowledge and our belief. Hey, thanks for the rose. Thanks very much for the rose and for the hearts and the follows. We appreciate it. Drop a follow, guys. We appreciate that. And you too out there. Subscribe, comment, like, share, subscribe. Patriotsonly.please. Patriotsonlyplease.com.
That's right.
So I think we covered that pretty well. I gave you a pretty rough, kind of a general idea of how. Because let's not forget, guys, the United States president is the leader of the free world, essentially. Mm-hmm. So that's how it affects the world economy.
Yeah.
And if things here are looking unstable and not well, it's not good for anyone.
Absolutely.
Particularly our adversaries. Absolutely. I'm glad there's not going to be a second presidential debate. I hope that we don't do that because, well, think about it. Biden is a sitting president. And Biden has already said he's not going to run for re-election. So a presidential debate is supposed to be between the current president and the contender. Well, the president's not going to run again. So why would he vote? Why would he debate Kamala?
Well, because she's the opposition now. I think that
Kamala's already said no to debating him at Fox, which to me is hypocritical because Trump went to CNN headquarters in Atlanta and did everything Biden wanted. That first debate, the first and only debate between Biden, which arguably I think ended Joe Biden's political career. Donald Trump conceded to every single request that Biden had. CNN, Atlanta, no audience, no notes. What else was it? 60 seconds responses only, and the moderators control the microphones being on and off. Trump said yes to all of it, and he wiped the floor with Biden. So I think Kamala is saying no to doing it on Fox because she won't get the questions in advance. She won't have a favorable position with the moderators. And Trump's a better debater than she is, in my humble opinion. So I wouldn't want to debate him either.
I mean, look, it's been how many weeks now since the torch has been passed? She still hasn't answered any questions. She hasn't done
press conferences. Not one press conference.
Yeah, she hasn't done any press conferences. She hasn't done any interviews. And I think that speaks volumes because Trump has repeatedly now gone into the lion's den. He's gone in, he did the debate through CNN and agreed to all their rules.
Yep.
He did he went to the Libertarian conference and spoke there. He spoke at the National Black Broadcasters meeting.
Yes.
So I mean, he's in my opinion, that's more indicative. That's the sign of a leader
100%.
Who's willing to go into the opposition and put himself out there. Kamala hasn't done that.
No.
J.D. Vance just the other day said, "Oh, look, there's Kamala's plane right there, and here are all you reporters. Don't you think that she owes you, the courtesy of coming out and answering your questions?"
What we're seeing is that Kamala is good at making monologues. She's very good. Well, she's not very good, but she wants monologues. She wants people to listen to her talk, give her message, and get out of there. Mm-hmm. But when you start interacting with the press, when you start a debate, you have to reply. It's got to be a dialogue.
Yeah.
She's not prepared to do that. So I don't think there will be a second debate. I think Trump showed how great he is a debater against Biden. It ended Biden's political career. I don't think Kamala wants a taste of that. I don't think we'll get one.
All the more reason why I think there should be a second debate.
Because
I would love for him to just do the same thing.
I agree with you.
On a national stage.
But I understand if Kamala's team decides that it's a bad move for her. I understand that.
It's a bad look either way.
It's a bad look either way.
Yeah. So if she doesn't,
it's bad for the country. Because the country should get to see both candidates speaking with each other about the important issues facing all of us, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where I've stood on the issue when it comes to the debate. I think that a lot of people in the country for the first time saw how feeble Biden was, and so I think that Kamala should have the opportunity to show the rest of the country how
prepared she is, how prepared she is not to be the president.
Yeah,
I think the debate would help us see that. So,
and if she is confident, if she is competent and confident, then the country should see that too.
Yeah, we haven't seen. All we've seen so far is Kamala. She's the vice president. She's been the president's surrogate for 3.5 years.
Yeah,
and she's been silent as an electric car.
Yep.
So we don't know what she's capable of, really. It's been a month of her doing rallies with her talking to people, talking at people. By the way, people on her side. It's preaching to the choir. All we've seen so far is her preaching to the choir. Let's see how she handles dissidents. Let's see how she handles someone coming right back at her and saying, absolutely not. Trump will do that. Trump will test her. So I hope that her team decides to have a debate, but I won't be surprised if it doesn't happen. I've made my decision. I'm voting for Trump-Vance 2024.
Sure.
We're locked in. But for people who are in the middle or undecided, I think it'd be a nice thing for the country to see. But if it doesn't happen, I understand why. Strategically, she might not want to do that.
Well, especially given the fact that she wasn't elected, she was selected.
Selected,
right?
Yes, selected.
So if anybody owes an explanation to the American people, it's her.
I couldn't agree more.
She was the most unpopular candidate when she ran.
Yep.
And she's been the most unpopular vice president. Now all of a sudden she's been given this coronation by the media.
Yep.
And so I think if nothing else, she owes it to the people to say, okay, this is why you need to vote for me, even though I didn't get any of your votes during the primary.
Exactly.
I didn't get any of your votes
Exactly.
and now I've just been picked. And now, see, that's what bothers me. Anybody that's going to vote for her, it's like you don't realize that you weren't given a choice.
No.
They say, well, I mean, she was the vice president and we voted for the team in 2020. That may be true, but Joe picked her. You didn't pick her.
Nope.
And now, because just by virtue of the fact that she was, the one who's alive when Joe Biden had that position, when Joe dropped out, she's now been selected.
Right.
And now all the money and all the delegates went to her. None of this was by anyone's choice.
No.
So if anybody owes the American public an explanation and a debate, it's her.
Right, exactly. She didn't earn this position. She inherited it because Joe, and by the way, the Democrats chose to have a closed primary. The Democrats closed to make it was Joe Biden or bust, no one else. And that, I think, was a planned move. I think they knew Joe wasn't going to make it, and they knew they'd pass the mantle to Kamala eventually. But again, if you're a Democrat, I wouldn't be happy about that.
No,
I wouldn't be happy at all.
And for quite a while, in the beginnings of the primary at least, you still had RFK, who was technically still, running as a Democrat.
Lifelong Democrat.
Lifelong Democrat.
Kennedy, come on.
Yeah, and then he bowed out and went independent because he got screwed by the party. Look, both parties are complicit in doing this. Happens every election cycle. But let's just look at, historically. On the left, Bernie got screwed. And there's a lot of people that were supporting him.
Bernie Sanders twice. The Democratic Party really took advantage of his momentum, his followers, and in the end, Bernie just what's SMH, shoulders shrug, what's that called?
He gave up, and the same, they did the same thing to Kennedy in this election cycle, and now it's so, for me, it's like I'd be a little suspicious if I were on the left, if I was supporting the left, blue no matter who, I would be a little suspicious. Like, where's our voice in this?
There's no voice.
What say do we have? Because it looks like everyone's just getting picked and selected, and we have zero. Well, and if you think it's going to change when they get quote unquote elected into office, you got another thing coming.
No, it's not. It's not democratic. It's not right. But I think it's keeping in line with the way Democrats kind of view their supporters.
They just think that they'll go along with anyone, and see, that's a big problem. Because if you want to talk about democracy and everybody having a voice, one vote, one voice, where was your voice? They took away your voice.
The donors. It seems to me that on the left, the donors are making the decisions.
Absolutely.
It seems to me that on the left right now, the Democratic elite and the donors are running the party, not the constituents, not the taxpayers.
The donors will look, especially the mega donors, will always. Let's be honest, take priority, whether you agree with that or not. But at the end of the day, at least our side is giving us, a choice. I mean, we did have a primary.
Right.
We kind of knew that Trump was going to take it, but we gave everybody an opportunity to have a voice.
Right.
Not so on the left.
No.
They put all their backing and all their money behind Biden. And
someone just commented that the Democrats say they're defending democracy, but they just circumvented it.
Exactly.
That's the way it looks to us. We feel that way about the way it's going down. I don't know. If I were a Democrat, I would not be cool with that, but I'm not a Democrat. So we're watching it from the outside, watching it happen in real time. More creators want to co-host. You want to co-host with us?
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of
we're doing a podcast,
but
please come back. Please come back.
Oh, and by the way, you might want to let them know we have finally launched an official TikTok.
We have launched an official TikTok page for this show, Patriots Only Please. So go on the app if you wouldn't mind. Patriots Only Please is on TikTok now. Follow us. Hop on there. We'll start doing lives and posting there a lot more. But I promise I'll have you back on, young lady. We're doing a podcast right now, so we're not able to have a co-host at this time. But I'll go live later today. Please come back and find me. Message me privately if you'd like to, and I'll bring you on my live later.
Yep.
Okay. Let's hop over to Tim Walz for a second. How much time do we have, Azura? Are we cool time-wise? 25 minutes. Okay. So I was hoping that the left, I was hoping, because Kamala was considering Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, and he was in the running. I think he would have helped her secure Pennsylvania, in the election, and she went with one of the most far left governors in the world. I mean, I think Tim Walz is.
And why do you think that was the case?
I've got a whole list here. I've got a whole list here of reasons why Tim Walz is way, way far to the left.
Yeah,
and it's
because she could have snagged Pennsylvania, which is a key swing state. They could have locked that in.
My home state.
So take it away, man.
Well, I mean, we can all. There's actually a great video right now, a movie on YouTube right now. How Minneapolis Fell. I recommend you guys check it out. I didn't make the video. I have nothing to do with the movie. But there's a free movie on YouTube right now called Why and How Minneapolis Fell. During the BLM riots, Governor Walz was very, very slow to call in the National Guard. He let Minneapolis get basically destroyed, and upset a lot of people, business owners, taxpayers, and he defends it. He defends sanctuary cities. He defends some pretty extreme positions that we find to be very, very not in keeping with the way that we see the world. So essentially, Kamala, who's a pretty far left candidate, pretty far left politician, she has now a VP who's farther to the left than she is. No moderates, no one in the middle, just far, far left. I don't think that's keeping in touch with the American people. I don't think most Americans are on the extremes of either side. I think most Americans are square in the middle. So I think that was a pretty bad move. I think she made a bad choice. But she's being led and advised by the Democratic elite and donors. So maybe she wasn't even part of the decision. I don't know how that works. I'm not going to pretend that I do. But I would not have chose someone as radical as Tim Walz to be my VP, trying to win a general election in the United States right now after 4 years of Biden's terrible economy, Biden's terrible foreign policy, Biden's open borders, which of course Kamala has endorsed the entire time. And for me, ultimately, the biggest insult, the one that I wouldn't be able to get over as a citizen, let alone a Democrat or Republican, is we now know that Kamala was dishonest about Joe Biden's health the entire term. The entire term, she looked every American in the face and said, "He's great. He's firing on all cylinders. There's nothing wrong here."
Literally the day before he dropped out, by the way. They were still saying, Joe Biden's never been stronger.
The Saturday before Joe Biden quit by tweet, he resigned by tweet, which to me is embarrassing.
Suspicious.
Suspicious and embarrassing. But anyway, he did. And how do you trust someone that fabricated that story for so long? What else are they lying? What else are they being dishonest about? I don't know, but I think that's a big enough disservice to the American people to not get my vote.
Absolutely. And why? I mean, again, he's been kind of out of the picture now since he dropped out.
Exactly.
So we haven't really heard much from him. So who's running the country?
Well, who's running the country? And it's funny, I was doing a live yesterday, and one of the comments that I got was, "Why are you talking about Biden? He's out." I'm like, no, he's the sitting president of the United States.
Yeah.
He's not out. And there is a video of him. A reporter commented to him about, like yesterday, he was getting on Air Force One or leaving the White House, and someone asked him about what's going on. And he goes, "You're stuck with me for 90 more days, kid. Just don't get rid of me. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here till January." So he knows he's the sitting president. He's not out of politics. He's still the president.
Yeah.
He can still sign executive orders. He's the sitting president of the United States of America. He's not out. But talking about Biden is certainly relevant. And why is he allowed to be the sitting president when we know he's senile? We know he can't really function at 100%.
Yeah.
We know that. So how is that possible?
And mentioning the fact that that Kamala and all of the left was dishonest about Joe Biden's condition.
Everyone on the left was dishonest about it.
The fact that,
including the media.
Yeah.
Sorry, but including
the
media.
But what's crazy is that I talked to some friends on the left, and they're like one of a really good friend of mine said, "Oh my God, who knew Biden was such a vegetable?" And I said, "We knew.
Everyone.
We knew.
Everyone.
Our side knew." So that begs the question: Why wasn't the rest of the country told? Why weren't you seeing the same videos that we saw?
Remember that?
Why were you not getting that information? Why and who wasn't telling you? Why weren't they telling you? And they're all complicit in that. So that means that we've had a vegetable running the country this whole time, and nobody's taken it upon themselves to let the other side know that this guy was not compos mentis.
Remember in June of this? Remember in June when Obama, Bill Clinton, and Joe Biden had that huge fundraiser in New York City?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
tuxedos, $50,000 entry fee, all that stuff, and they were guiding Biden around on stage. Bill Clinton knew he was senile.
Yeah.
Obama knew he was senile.
Obama let him off the stage by hand.
Yeah. So they're complicit in deceiving the American people about Joe Biden's health. They lose my vote right there.
Yep. And then to just go, okay, well, Biden's out now. We're going to select this person. So it's like
it's a bait and switch at the biggest level, and I think it's shameful. And I'm glad that I'm a Republican. I'm glad that we're set with our candidate. I'm glad that our core values aren't changing based on optics and based on demographics and based on popularity. Yeah. I'm very proud to be a conservative Republican right now. I think we're going to win big in November. And I would encourage you, the patriots out there, to vote red down ballot. We need more Republicans in state houses, state Congress, as well as the federal government. Mm-hmm. We need to take back the Senate. We need to get a bigger majority in the House and take back the White House.
Yeah,
that's our goal.
Good point, because it'd be great, obviously, if Trump wins the White House, but at the end of the day, he can only do so much without the support of Congress and all that. So It's never been more important to vote down ballot. So just something to keep in mind.
Vote red down ballot.
Absolutely.
There's one good thing that we can all agree on. All patriots, all people on the right. And again, this is just for educational and entertainment purposes only. That's what we're here to do. And we appreciate you guys hopping on here and listening to the live. We appreciate your comments. Thank you so much. And we want to thank TikTok for giving us this platform. And we want to take our subscribers and followers around the world. Azur as well, who's back there.
Thank you, Azur.
Looking at TikTok. On TikTok. Joe Biden's going to be a one-term president.
Yeah.
We can at least celebrate that we'll only have 4 years of Joe Biden. That to me is already a huge victory.
Yeah, and a lot of people on the left would celebrate that as well.
Well, they are celebrating it because he's been a disaster.
Yeah.
And he was a disaster in 2019. He's been a disaster every day that he's been in office. Mm-hmm. He was a disaster for the last 50 plus years as a senator and VP. He's never been a visionary. He's a company man. He's a stamp. What's it called?
Rubber stamp.
Rubber stamp for the DNC's wishes. Yeah. So I'm glad that Joe Biden will not be with us after January of next year.
Politically, at least.
Politically, I don't know what's going to happen between now and then, if he'll stick around or if they'll find a way to remove him completely.
Sure.
If his health deteriorates more, I don't know how someone can be the sitting president of the most powerful country in the world and not be able to function properly. How can we allow that to happen? How can we as a country allow that to continue?
That begs another question. What happens if, for example, Trump wins the election, but they pull Biden in November and there's still a couple of months left? Does Kamala just become the president for 2 months?
She'd have to be. Yep.
So, I mean, there you go.
Constitutionally, that's exactly what would happen.
There you go, lefties. You can get your female president for 2 months. There you go. For 2 months. There you go. Win-win. There you go.
I don't know what's going to happen. We're all guessing at this point, but I do think it was a huge disservice to the United States, to the American people, to our allies around the world, to tax-paying, hardworking Americans. Tell all of us that Joe Biden was 100% fit and able to run the country when the Democrats and the mainstream media knew that he was not.
Yep.
Kamala Harris knew that Joe Biden was not fit.
And we were the conspiracy theorists.
Kamala Harris and the Democrats knew that Joe Biden was not fit to serve, and they kept serving him up to us as if he were. Shame on them. We know the truth now. Biden's going to definitely be a one-term president. We were right about that. We were right about his health. We were right about his mental decline. And I think that we're right about Trump winning big in November. I think Trump advanced 2024, #too big to rig. We want a big win for Trump. We want to get more Republicans in office. And we want to, I think, agree that Kamala's pick for VP, Tim Walz, someone as left and radical as can possibly be, was helpful to our side. It's gonna galvanize the right even more.
Yeah. We shall see, folks. We shall see. I don't know which camera to look at, but we shall see. So with that, is that a good place to wrap up for this particular episode?
What this episode was essentially, what would you call it, like?
Well, I mean, I was wanting to answer the economic questions because I think, again, a lot of people are voting with their emotions and they're voting based on identity politics and all that. So I just wanted to kind of bring it around, like it is the economy, right? I mean, no matter where you lean, no matter who gets elected, you're still going to have to pay taxes, you're still going to have to pay bills, and you're still going to have to buy gas and all that stuff. And none of that is going to magically change if you elect Kamala. In fact,
not at all.
In fact, all of the indications are that it will get worse for the people. So as much as you may love to support, the first woman of color in the Oval Office, I would caution people with that being the only criteria, because at the end of the day, you are going to suffer under those policies, as we all will. So if you have to hold your nose, be greedy with your vote. Vote in your own best interest.
Yeah, I mean we should all vote with our best interests in mind. We should vote for people that share our values. We should vote with people that are going to run the country or the state that we live in the way that we feel matches our values and morals. So that to me is the Republicans. That to me is Trump Vance 2024. No problem. So it's an easy choice for us. Trump's gaining momentum. His rallies are getting bigger. His donations are rolling in. He's been the president before. Our candidate has already been a president. He's already been the president. He knows DC better than anyone else. So I'm really hopeful. I'm really hopeful that we're going to win in November. Hopefully we'll take back the Senate and we'll grow our numbers in the House. That's our goal. And of course, parting message before we sign off, guys. All politics is local. Mm-hmm. So if you have friends that haven't registered to vote in a while, friends, neighbors, colleagues that are silent Republicans, the silent majority, so to speak, encourage them to get registered. Encourage them to vote in November. Get them politically active, at least to vote. It's not the time to sit out. There's too much at stake for us to sit this one out on the right. Let's come together, unite the right in each state. Let's deliver a big win for Trump Vance 2024. Let's make America first again. And all due respect to everyone on any political party, all due respect to anyone of any political beliefs. We're not here to judge anyone else. We're just here to share our thoughts, our heartfelt beliefs, and make America first again. We think that Trump's the answer. If it's a binary choice, like it is, we're Trump Vance 2024. 100%. We hope that you are too. We appreciate your kind attention so much. We appreciate the follows and the hearts and the roses. But Patriots Only Please is now on TikTok. Patriots Only Please is also on every podcast platform. Whatever you prefer, we're there. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I want to thank Azura for being a fantastic production assistant, producer, technical advisor, Jeff Celentano, Mike Soli, and listen, at the end of the day, we're all Americans. At the end of the day, we all want a better future for our kids. We can all agree on those things. And we wish you all a great Throwback Thursday. Wherever you are in the world, throw on some cool tunes that remind you of when you were a kid. We're going to do that later. And make it a great Thursday. We love it. We love our country. We love all Americans. We're just here to support what's best for the United States of America. That's why we're here.
Indeed. Remember in November, too big to rig.
Remember in November. Thank you so much, guys.
Ciao,
thanks for the hearts.
everybody.
Bye, guys.